Wow, this has been one heck of a week for pandemic stimulus news. As I reported on Monday, Trump has signaled that he would agree to an over $1.8 trillion stimulus package. You know, initially the Republican stimulus packages were, well, they're less than stellar to say the least. Still, after the Problem Solvers Caucus released their proposal a few weeks ago, the Republicans went back to the drawing board. They reworked their proposal, bringing over many of the caucus's ideas and formalized them into what is now being referred to as the $1.8 trillion package. Trump and even the Senate Republicans said they would support this bill. It is now up to Nancy to get the House to vote on it. But sadly, she refuses, focusing instead on party politics and her effort to hurt Trump in the re-election. And now, many even in her own party are turning against her. Even news outlets like CNN and Huffington Post are calling Nancy out on her. You know, like him or hate him, Trump has rallied the Republicans to support an over $1.8 trillion stimulus package. Yet, as we've said, Nancy just completely refuses to accept it. Even Mitch McConnell, the fiscal conservative that refused to spend more than $1 trillion, now says that he will follow the president's lead and support this package. That means that we pretty much have the White House and the Senate supporting it. We just need the House. Can DC put their petty politics aside and pass this much-needed stimulus bill and get the money out to all of us in the next few weeks? Will we finally get our $1,200 stimulus checks with the $1,000 bonus for each child? What about enhanced unemployment until January, our second round of PPP funding, and the $10,000 EIDL grants for all small businesses? This is all coming, my friends, but we need to fight for it. Hello and welcome to the Stephen Carlson Show. I'm Stephen Carlson. I'm a tech entrepreneur, real estate investor, author, YouTuber, and volunteer paramedic. And that's Bonnie down there. Please comment down below with the hashtag TeamEIDL, that is one word without any spaces, Team, EIDL. And share this video everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, text your friends, email the local news stations, blast your politicians. We need to get the word out, demanding that Congress finally do something about this problem. Also, don't forget to tag all of your elected officials in your message. Make it clear that we need our $10,000 stimulus grant that the CARES Act promised. As I said back in my opening comments, even many in the Democrat Party and in the media are beginning to turn on Nancy. Here's a snippet from an interview with CNN's Wolf Blitzer.
As you know, there are Americans who are being evicted from their homes. They can't pay the rent. Many Americans are waiting in food lines for the first time in their lives. Can you look them in the eye, Madam Speaker, and explain why you don't want to accept the president's latest stimulus offer?
Well, because, thank you very much, Wolf, and I hope you'll ask the same question of the Republicans about why they don't really want to meet the needs of the American people.
Wow. First off, you can see just how defensive she is. Typically, you would expect the CNN interview to basically be home turf for her. Still, she comes out of the gate swinging. Heck, she even went on the offensive before thanking Wolf for the interview. I think she's starting to feel the pressure from all sides. Anyways, let's get back to the interview, because there are some real insights into what is going on here.
When you say to me, why don't you accept theirs? Why don't they accept ours? Our legislation is there to do three things primarily: to honor our workers, honor our heroes, our healthcare workers, our police and fire first responders, our teachers, our transportation, sanitation, food workers, the people who make our lives work. We couldn't be doing what we're doing without them. Many of them have risked their lives so that to save lives, and now they will lose their jobs because Mitch McConnell says let the states go bankrupt.
Excuse me for
let
interrupting,
the states go bankrupt.
Madam Speaker, but they really need the money right now, and even members of your own.
I understand that,
but even members of your own caucus. Even members of your own caucus, Madam Speaker, want to accept this deal. $1.8 trillion. Congressman Ro Khanna, for example. Well, let me just quote Ro Khanna, a man you know well. I assume you admire him. He's a Democrat. And he just said this. He said, people in need can't wait until February. $1.8 trillion is significant and more than twice the Obama stimulus. Make a deal. Put the ball in McConnell court. So what do you say to Ro Khanna?
What I say to you is, I don't know why you're always an apologist. And many of your colleagues apologize for the Republican position. Ro Khanna, that's nice. That isn't what we're going to do.
That's nice. That isn't what we're going to do. What the f***? PPP, $10,000 EIDL grants, $1,200 stimulus checks, and so much more is just nice, but that isn't what we're going to do? That kind of shows where her priorities are, and it's not with the people. Plus, I would hardly refer to CNN as apologists for the Republican Party, as Nancy did. I respect what Wolf did here. He was being a journalist and he was standing up for the facts. Many in the Democrat Party feel that it's time to make a deal. The negotiating and posturing has just gone on too long. People need the stimulus now, and dragging it out any longer is only a political play because of the upcoming elections in November. I said this in my video back on Monday. Trump is basically ready to sign a massive stimulus bill. All Nancy really needs to do is stop dragging her feet, pick up the phone, and call the president. Just remove all the layers of middle management in the deal and speak with him directly. No cameras, no microphones, nothing for them to play politics to their party. Just two adults working out a deal.
When was the last time you spoke with the president about this?
I don't speak to the president. Speak with his representative.
Why not call him and say, Mr. President, let's work out a deal. It's not going to be everything you want, not going to be everything I want, but there are so many Americans right now who are in desperate need. Let's make a deal.
What makes me amused, if it weren't so sad, is how you all think that you know more about the suffering of the American people than those of us who are elected by them to represent them at that table.
I think that pretty much sums it up. She refuses to actually talk to the president, and instead thinks that she, someone who has an estimated net worth of over $250 million, is more in touch with the American people rather than the rest of us. Now, I don't begrudge her for her financial success. I do question how someone that has never had a job outside of American politics her entire adult life could have upwards of $250 million in net worth, but I digress. This interview continues on for about 10 more minutes. I will link the full video down in the description if you guys are interested in watching the full video. The Democratic Party, the American people, and even the news media are starting to see through all of Nancy's, and CNN is not alone in this. The Huffington Post is also ticked off with Nancy. Let me share a little snippet of an article with you. I'll link the full article down in the description below. After months of negotiating with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi finally persuaded the Trump administration on Friday to offer up $1.8 trillion in emergency economic relief. She should take the deal. Pelosi instead spent the weekend blasting the White House offer, which includes $300 billion in aid to state and local governments, a $400 a week boost to unemployment, and more aggressive round of stimulus checks to households than were delivered under the March stimulus bill. The Trump administration proposal would provide a family of four making less than $150,000 an influx of at least $4,400, as the Washington Post detailed. The thing is, basically, Nancy instead spent last weekend and most of this week just complaining about the Trump proposal, saying that they failed to address tracing and vaccine development and refusing to tighten OSHA regulations, excluding economic relief for U.S. territories and Native American tribes, and blah, 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 blah. You know, some of these things are valid objections, but they were also valid objections to the original coronavirus package, where there was none of these things covered. And back then, all Democrats supported that. All Republicans supported it. No, the first CARES Act wasn't a perfect bill. This one won't be either, but it still fixes a lot of things. And you remember back during the first one, both Pelosi and Schumer said that there will be multiple phases of relief that would address different stages of the crisis. The thing is, since then, both political parties have basically just been dragging their feet and doing nothing. Keep in mind that Huffington Post is a very liberal media outlet. I don't say that as criticism necessarily, just as a fact. So for them to come out and tell Nancy basically quit while you're ahead and take the damn deal, that's saying a lot. Honestly, I'm pretty pissed off about this whole situation. But at least there is some comfort in knowing that you guys can still get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,600 when you deposit $100. The link is in the description. Obviously, Nancy and I are not exactly aligned in political ideologies. I'll readily commend her for her negotiating style. At least the beginning up until now. Once again, putting politics aside, she was able to stand her ground and force the Republicans to increase their stimulus spending from less than $1 trillion in their original so-called skinny proposal to now just shy of $2 trillion. Honestly, I feel it is time for her to just accept the deal, get the money out to the people. Another YouTuber, Steve Ram, said it very well.
As you guys know, it has taken quite some time for Congress to get this stimulus package out. We have been waiting for quite a while. And although there's a lot of blame to go around, it seems that there is one person that stands out amongst the crowd for the blame, and that person is Nancy Pelosi. As she has verbally said her own words that she is taking an all or nothing approach, refusing to budge on many of her stances regarding provisions. Also, when President Trump and his administration sends her counteroffers, she criticizes them and refuses to come to any sort of agreement. And even when urged by Andrew Yang and members of the Democratic Party in Congress to pass standalone provisions, she refuses, not even for unemployment, stimulus checks, or PPP. Well, many Americans and now members of Congress have said they've had enough. And Representative Doug Collins is leading the charge on removing Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House, saying that she is mentally now unfit for her position.
Personally, I am not a fan of trying to impeach her to remove her as Speaker. Honestly, I think that is more BS party politics, and it is a distraction from the real work that needs to get done for the people. In reality, it's no different than the sham impeachment of Trump, and I hope the Republicans just do not go down that stupid path. I feel it is a far better option for people to use their vote in November and vote against or for the politicians they agree with. I hate all this constant impeachment stuff just because you don't agree with the other person. What do you guys think? Is Nancy to blame for all the delays? Should we vote her out in November? If we decide to re-elect her, should she still keep her speaker position? Why don't you comment down below and let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure you click like and subscribe. Doing so really helps the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.